talk, I wanted to make this one about the choices we make that aren't based on luck. It's titled Risk versus Reward. Excavation and trenching is one of the deadliest jobs in construction, yet nearly every death is preventable. Today's goal is simple. Everyone gets to go home at the end of the day. We all know that our industry performs excavations and trenching, and I want to make it clear that this is a discussion and not a lecture. Every trench is a choice between the shortcut and the people standing in it. A hazard measured in seconds and tons. Soil is unforgiving. When a trench wall lets go, physics, not the skill, decides the outcome. A cubic yard of soil can weigh just about as much as 3,000 pounds, the weight of a small car. So even a few feet of collapse is lethal. Suffocation can occur in about 3 minutes. There's no time to dig somebody out. And 100%, these deaths are preventable with the controls we already have in place. So the mechanism, how a trench kills. Walls can and have failed without warning in seconds. Just 2 feet of soil on a collapse puts 750 to 1,000 pounds of pressure on the chest, so the lungs cannot expand at all. This is called compression asphyxia. The worker is pinned under the collapse, not struck by the collapse. Rescue is usually next to impossible, and digging someone out can trigger a secondary collapse that kills coworkers and first responders. The common instinct is to jump in after your buried coworker, but the job is to call for trained rescue, your ambulance. Why? Because the risk of burying and entrapping yourself in a secondary cave-in event becomes greater once the first collapse has happened. Preventable deaths year after year. I want to put the human factor behind these numbers. 39 U.S. workers, that's the amount of U.S. workers killed in trench collapses in 2025, just last year. That's the highest number in over a decade. The average number used to be 30 deaths. It has now increased, and the long run average is now about 40 a year. The cave-in window is seconds. A trench wall collapses at a speed of 45 miles an hour. You're not escaping with your speed and reflexes alone. So what is the core purpose of this slide? Its purpose is that every single one of these deaths was preventable with standard equipment and procedures. So I wanted to walk through this case study. It's a real incident. Um, it happened in suburban Atlanta, Georgia on September 12th of last year, a basic sewer line excavation. 2 workers were buried in a 14-foot trench dug that morning for a sewer line. Note there was no shoring, no shielding, nothing protected those walls from a cave-in. The soil was marked type B on paper, yet no competent person was on site and no soil test was ever done for this excavation. The walls collapsed without warning at 10:23 a.m. and it took rescuers 7 hours to recover the bodies. My point is that every control that could have saved them existed and was standard practice, but every single precaution to keep those workers alive was ignored. No protective system, pencil whip soil determination, no competent person on site. Every control that could have saved them existed in standard procedure through OSHA rule, yet none of them were used. and it cost those two guys their lives. So let's weigh the shortcut against the cost. The reward for skipping protection is dig faster, right? Don't need the trench box. We need to get this job done. Finish the job a day sooner, avoid equipment rental costs. We're going to lower the bid to win that work. Um, the risk is catastrophic and permanent. A worker killed or permanently disabled, 6 and 7 figure OSHA penalties, criminal charges and personal liability, project shutdown, and worse, uh, ruined reputation. The math never ever favors the shortcut, and the person who pays this is usually the one standing in the trench, not the one who made the call. So, cutting corners is a business decision, and OSHA regulators now punish that hard. Um, Maximum penalties run to $165,514 per willful or repeated violation. Recent enforcement brought $4.8 million for 2 fatal collapses in a single month, and $4.6 million against one contractor, plus criminal charges, including manslaughter. For our GMs, our field supervisors, the savings from skipping a trench box are trivial next to this exposure, and fines are only the start once you add litigation, insurance, downtime, and again, lost reputation. So our protective systems, there's 2 ways we make our trenches safe. OSHA requires a protective system in any excavation 5 foot or deeper. So shoring is one of them. Means we brace the walls, thin board backed by hydraulic struts, pushing out against the soil so it can't move on us and collapse. Shielding is different. We drop in a trench box. It won't stop a wall from failing, but it keeps you alive when it does because you're working within that protective zone. The rule is simple. Anything 5 foot or deeper gets a protective system. No exceptions. No, it'll only take me a minute to jump down there and jump back out. If you're not sure which system fits the job or the soil, you pause the job, you contact safety before anyone climbs in. That's why we have daily check-in requirements for all of our excavation crews before they put anyone in the hole to start work. So if you follow these 4 steps, we will prevent a collapse every time. This is a daily discipline to help prevent those collapses from happening. Assign a competent person to each specific job, someone that is trained and empowered to spot hazards and has the stop work authority. We must classify and test our soils. Type A, B, and C or stable rock determines which protection is required, but remember, as an enterprise, all of our soils should be classified as type C. You may ask why. Why is it classified as type C soil? Because it provides the highest level of protection for anybody that has to get inside that trench, period. Shore or shield before anyone enters a trench that is 5 foot or more, or if it's deemed too unstable at any depth, add a protective system. Recheck after rain, vibration, or any change in the soil. Um, Conditions can shift fast, and this is why we need to inspect. These four steps are quick, and the difference between a routine day and a fatality. So make sure you apply this to every dig. These 4 steps to every dig. Apply them. So the bottom line, we need to protect every person on every job. As a manager, as a field supervisor, and especially as a competent person. I'd like everyone to carry these 4 commitments with them on every job. Plan the dig before any shovel ever breaks ground. Protect your trench every time, no exceptions. Inspect it daily and after every change in condition. Never ever enter a trench that is unprotected. The cost of safety is measured in dollars. The cost of skipping it is measured in lives. I'd like to say that June is Trench Safety Month, and this is an annual stand down to bring safety back to the forefront, uh, to protect everyone that must work within the trenches. Right now, I'd like to open up this toolbox, uh, talk up for any questions you may have or comments if you're watching the YouTube video now. For each competent person, lead, make these commitments to protect yourself and your crews. Carry them with you on each job site every day, so that we can guarantee everyone's safe return home at the end of each day. Thank you guys so much. Um, Please protect yourselves, protect your crews, follow the steps. Make sure that we're following the OSHA rule, make sure that we're following company policy to ensure that nothing happens to our workers in those trenches. I'm going to turn it over to the supervisors now. You guys have a great day. Be safe out there, please. If you ever have questions, contact myself or Jason Myers. We are happy to help you. Thank you and have a great day.